We're going to talk about a subject I have no experience and have done no research on it, but that's why you have millionaire experts contribute to your channel. Mr. Taylor from Life Goal Investments is going to bring a shocking statistic about car payments. All right, buddy, lay it on us. What's going on?
Car payments, the ultimate status symbol if you're an American is what
It's
kind of
time to
car do you
flex.
drive? Yeah, and what does your neighbor drive? Because it better be nicer than them, otherwise you're a chump.
Yeah.
So no, but it keeps people on this financial hamster wheel spinning and spinning and spinning. So I was looking at the data. You have the average price of a new car has gone up 60% over the past decade. So if
Wow.
you look back at 2012, you look at about a $30,000 car for the average new car. Right now, it's at over $48,000 people are paying for the average new car. So you think about that, and then you also couple that with the average household income in the United States is just over $70,000. So let's break out these numbers and tell you what percentage of household income is going towards car payments because it's absolutely absurd. So the average down payment on a car right now is $6,780. If you break that out and say over the life of the loan, which averages 5.5 years, that's $98 per month. You couple that with the average monthly payment of $716,
Yeah.
and then the insurance cost of $168. I know that's a lot of numbers. At the end of the day, you add those three numbers together, which is the cost of buying a new car and financing it on a monthly basis. It's $982 a month. $982 a month. Now
And
you look
that's
at it and say,
oh my God. That's
it's almost a
after
thousand
taxes
dollars.
money. It's after tax money, right? People
Correct.
say I make 100 grand a year. No, you don't. You make 77 grand a year. Now you're spending 12 grand on cars. And that's one
Correct.
car. Heaven forbid you have two.
Correct. So let's look at this at the actual numbers on a percentage basis. So the average family, I'm sorry, the average household, so that can be one person earner, two person earner. The average household brings home $70,100 currently in the United States per year. After taxes, that breaks out to a monthly income after tax of $4,800. So if you take 982 and divide it by 4,800, 20.5% of people's income is going towards car payment. That's for a one car household. For a two car household, it's almost 41% of after tax dollars going to your vehicle payment.
Wow, 20%. I don't know if you have this data, but I'm going to ask anyway. That seems to me to be ridiculously high and above trend. But again, as I admitted at the open, I've never looked at this data. Have we always been spending roughly 20%, or is it just recently we've gone status conscious?
No, so we've gone status conscious, but also the second thing is the meaningful increase in prices of cars. So again, if
Right.
you go up 60% over a 10-year decade, 10-year decade, they're all 10 years, you know,
10-year decade, really? Are there 12-year decades?
that's a does decade, yeah.
Yeah, it
Um,
does. Nice, nicely done.
yeah, exactly. Got me off topic here. But anyway, yeah, over a 10-year period, if something goes up 60%, that's
Yeah.
meaningfully ahead of the rate of inflation. So therefore, as a percentage of take-home pay, that's meaningfully ahead of what it would have been over the past decade. And
And
some of this is COVID supply chain driven because there
sure.
was a more hyperbolic increase over the past 3 years, but nonetheless, the trend was moving upwards in a big direction over the past decade as a whole.
Any chance we get new car deflation? Because I think a lot of that decade had to be interest rate, just like a lot of this stuff is interest rate driven, right? I believe a decade ago rates were higher. They're probably in the 6 or 7 for cars. Don't know, but I'm guessing. Probably during the cycle low was 1.9, 0.9 for car loans, and you could just get you could be a greedy producer and get a lot more money. But now if rates are 7% or 8%, it becomes unaffordable. I mean, are we going to see discounts on cars or what's going on?
Such a good point because it's twofold. That's the price of the car I just mentioned going up 60%. That doesn't take into account the interest rate you're paying on top of that in order to finance that car. So,
Yeah.
yeah, to your point, that went up meaningfully, the interest rate, as well as the price of the car. So, that was a twofold double whammy. Yeah, at some point, the rate of increase cannot continue. And at some point, too, we're working through some of this EV production and starting to get more efficient in that. And as more competitors start to enter the space against Tesla, which they certainly are, that should drive down EV prices. Tesla's cut 6 times this year. their prices on their cars. So yeah, I think that we've probably seen the inflection point where new car prices have probably hit their high water mark for this cycle and will
Would
trend
hope.
downwards. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
hope, right? And you think about it, cars are like any commodity, a supply demand driven curve. And if a recession hits, I can promise you demand for cars will come in, and that will bring prices down as well.
Yeah. So this is obviously all new car related. I actually think there's a bunch of pain coming in used cars. I'm a very casual observer, but I call them stimulus bros, right? People
Yeah.
who are flexing because of stimulus and not paying rent and all of this, buying new cars. Even the big crypto bros and all these other folks buying Lamborghinis and luxury vehicles and those Lamborghini SUVs and all these things. I think there's a lot of pain, a lot of defaults, a lot of repossessions coming in the used car market, especially luxury used cars. I don't know how to track that. I don't really look for it. It's just a gut feeling. But there's a lot of fake success out there that I think is going to come due.
Yeah, well, think about this too. What is going to happen later on this year is we're going to have a re-engagement of student loan payments.
Yeah.
And so 43 million Americans on average, so 43 million Americans have student loan payments that will restart after 3 years of not being paid. And the average loan payment per month is $393 a month. So there is, I mean, now granted that you'd say there's your car payment, and you would say, well, actually, car payments
It's half
are
a car
lot higher
payment.
because of ridiculous prices these days. But historically, that's been a car payment. And if you're being logical about how you're purchasing and trying to be frugal with your car, again, when you get in your car, realistically, Michael, when you get in your car for a month, someone might say to you, that's a nice car. And for a month, you may sit in your car and be like, dang, this is a nice car. After a month, that's a transportation mechanism exclusively. You get in, you start it up, I get my girls settled in the back, maybe the dog's there. I'm not paying attention to what the leather feels like as I sit in it or how fast I go 0 to 60. That's the last thing I'm doing. I'm trying to keep the girls calm in the back seat and stop throwing their food all over the place.
Oh, I remember those days. I remember those days.
You should see, we have a Suburban, Michael. And I'm like a tidy car person. You can't. There's
Can't
cheese
win.
doodles everywhere. There's this, fruit snacks are stuck, melted fast to the walls. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, Taylor, the life of a dad. There you go.
Yep.
Taylor, it's so much fun. I see a rant in your upcoming video about about the back. You're going to be the back of your Suburban doing a rant. Look at this craziness.
There's chocolate everywhere.
Taylor, where can people find you?
Yeah, follow us at Life Goal Investments on both Instagram and in TikTok. I appreciate you, Michael.
Thank you, buddy.